Well, it's time for another OHL history video as we're going season by season from the 1980-81 season right up until 2024-25. We're doing the whole thing this offseason, and today we're taking a look at the 2011-2012 OHL campaign. This one's actually a special one for me because this would be my first year traveling with the Sudbury Wolves on the radio broadcast. So working alongside Stu Kernan and learning the ropes from that angle, while also covering the Sudbury Wolves for the first time after being with the Kitchener Rangers for 3 seasons prior. So this season, still 20 teams playing a 68-game schedule. The stability at this point was the longest we've seen in the OHL history because throughout this series, season-by-season series, we've had so many different relocations and expansions and whatnot. But here, everything was the status quo, although we know that's going to change over the next couple of videos. So let's dive into the regular season standings first. Starting off the West Division, the Plymouth Whalers led the way, 97 points with a record of 47, 18, 2, and 1. The Sarnia Sting, they would finish second with a record of 34, 27, 3, and 4 for 75 points. The Saginaw Spirit, third with a record of 33, 27, 1, and 7 for 74 points. While the Windsor Spitfires, fourth with a record of 29, 32, 5, and 2 for 65 points. And just missing out on the playoffs would be the Sioux Greyhounds with a record of 29, 33, 2, and 4 for 64 points. In the Midwest Division, the London Knights, they would take the top spot, a record of 49, 18, 0, and 1 for 99 points. The Kitchener Rangers, second with a record of 42, 24, 1, and 1, 86 points. The Owen Sound Attack, fresh off their OHL championship, they would finish third in the division. 32, 29, 3, and 4 was their record for 71 points. The Guelph Storm, fourth with a record of 31, 31, 2, and 4 for 68 points. And finishing at the bottom of the division would be the Erie Otters, with a record of 10, 52, 3, and 3, 26 points. Over in the Eastern Conference, we'll start in the Central Division. The Niagara IceDogs, they would take top spot, a record of 47, 18, 0, and 3 for 97 points. The Barrie Colts, second, with a record of 40, 23, 3, and 2, 85 points. The Brampton Battalion, they would finish third with a record of 36, 22, 3, and 7, 82 points. The Sudbury Wolves, fourth, with a record of 36, 26, 4, and 2, 78 points. While the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors, bottom of the division with a record of 33, 28, 1, and 6, 73 points, but they would still make the playoffs. In the East Division, the Ottawa 67s led the way, 40, 25, and 3 was their record, 88 points. Second, the Belleville Bulls, 35, 32, and 1, 71 points. The Oshawa Generals, third with a record of 31, 34, and 3, 69 points. And then missing the playoffs would be the Peterborough Petes, a record of 27, 34, 3, and 4, 61 points. And also missing the playoffs, the Kingston Frontenacs with a record of 19, 41, 3, and 5 for 46 points. So the 2011-2012 season saw a different face behind the bench as Dale Hunter at this point would coach the Washington Capitals for 1 season, and Mark Hunter would then take the position of head coach and GM. So the London Knights, a lot of strong seasons, and Dale Hunter being recognized by the Washington Capitals at this point. So he gave the NHL a go. And it was a short experience, but it did seem a little different at the time, seeing Mark Hunter behind the bench of the London Knights. Now, it was not a great time to be in the Sioux in the early 2010s, but going into this season, they would hire Kyle Dubas as their next general manager. He was the youngest GM at the time. It was also a tough situation in Erie. The Otters, bottom of the standings, and they only had one goalie available going into a game in Niagara. This situation I don't think we'll see ever again, but Ramis Sadikov, he was the goaltender, and he went down with injury early in the game. So Connor Crisp, the forward, had to come in emergency relief. So what was going on here is that Connor Crisp was recovering from an injury, so he hadn't seen any action. He was traveling with the team as a scratch, but he was the emergency goaltender for this game. Sadikov went down, and that's exactly what happened. So for Crisp, he would be named first star in this game. This was in Niagara at the Jack Aycliffe Arena. It was a 13-4 loss to Niagara for the Erie Otters, but help would be on the way for Erie because Connor McDavid would receive exceptional player status ahead of the 2012 OHL priority selection. So as bad as things got for the Erie Otters this season, hope was on the way. Now, following the season, the Windsor Spitfires, they were fined $400,000 by the Ontario Hockey League for unspecified recruitment violations. And this would see them give up 5 draft picks, including 3 first-round picks in 2013, 2014, and 2016. So quite the penalty here for the recruitment violation for the Windsor Spitfires in this season. Let's take a look now at the top scorers. Michael Scarbosa of the Sudbury Wolves led the way, 47 goals, 55 assists, 102 points. He actually won the scoring race on the final day of the regular season in a game in Kingston. And I remember we got on the bus after the game, and there was a lot of excitement from the coaching staff and the players that Michael Scarbosa would win the scoring race for the 2011-2012 season. And then Tyler Toffoli, second in scoring from the Ottawa 67s, 52 goals, 48 assists for 100 points. And then Tanner Pearson, third in scoring from the Barrie Colts, 37 goals, 54 assists, 91 points. From the Ottawa 67s, there's Shane Prince, 43 goals, 47 assists, 90 points. Andrew Agazzino had a solid year with the Niagara IceDogs, 40 goals, 48 assists, 88 points. Nick Cousins of the Sioux Greyhounds, 35 goals, 53 assists, 88 points. Charles Sarreau of the Sarnia Sting was 7th in scoring, 20 goals, 67 assists, 87 points. And then Freddie Hamilton of the Niagara IceDogs was 8th with 35 goals, 51 assists, 86 points. From the London Knights, Seth Griffith, he had 45 goals, 40 assists, 85 points. And rounding up the top 10 in scoring would be Mike Halmo of the Owen Sound Attack, 40 goals, 45 assists for 85 points. Looking at the playoff brackets, the London Knights, they would have the first seed in the Western Conference, and they would complete the series sweep of the Windsor Spitfires. Meanwhile, the Plymouth Whalers, they would need 6 games to eliminate the Guelph Storm, while the Kitchener Rangers defeat the Owen Sound Attack in 5 games, and the Saginaw Spirit, they would upset the Sarnia Sting in the first round, winning their series in 6 games. In the Eastern Conference, the Niagara IceDogs, they would defeat the Oshawa Generals in 6 games. The Ottawa 67s, they would also need 6 games to defeat the Belleville Bulls. The Barrie Colts, they knock off Mississauga in 6, while the Brampton Battalion complete the series sweep of the Sudbury Wolves. In the second round of the playoffs, it'd be the London Knights and Saginaw Spirit. London needing 6 games to take care of the Spirit, while the Kitchener Rangers going to Game 7 and would upset the Plymouth Whalers. And in the Eastern Conference, the Niagara IceDogs completing the series sweep of the Brampton Battalion, while the Ottawa 67s would defeat the Barrie Colts in 7 games. What a series that was between the 67s and the Colts. Now in the conference finals, it was a classic matchup, London versus Kitchener. However, the Knights, they would make it a quick Western Conference final, winning that series in 4, while the Niagara IceDogs eliminate the Ottawa 67s in 5 games. And this would be their first trip to the OHL Championship as the Niagara IceDogs. Now, this final, it would be short-lived for the J. Ross Roberson Cup, as the London Knights, they would defeat the Niagara IceDogs in 5 games. So going into the Memorial Cup, it was being held in Shawinigan. The Cataracts, they were the host team from the QMJHL. So the Knights, they would also be joined by the St. John's Sea Dogs from the QMJHL, who were just there in 2011, and the Edmonton Oil Kings. They would represent the Western Hockey League. This would actually be the first tournament since 1983 where each team would split the first 2 games of their round robin. So everyone had a 1-1 record going into the third and final game of their round robin play. So the London Knights, they would advance directly to the Memorial Cup final. They had a record of 2-1. However, they would fall to the host Shawinigan Cataracts in the Memorial Cup final, as Shawinigan would win 2-1 in overtime. There was a bit of controversy here because Shawinigan, their playoff run was cut short. I believe it was the first round of the playoffs in the QMJHL that they were knocked out. So they had time to rest up and prepare, and they made the best of their situation, defeating London for the Memorial Cup. Now, looking at the award winners for the 2011-2012 season, winning the Red Tilson Trophy would be Michael Hauser of the London Knights. You don't usually see goaltenders winning the Red Tilson in the Ontario Hockey League, while Michael Scarbosa of the Sudbury Wolves gets the Eddie Powers Memorial Trophy. The Matt Layden would go to Greg Gilbert of the Saginaw Spirit. Tyler Toffoli would take home the Jim Mahon Memorial Trophy, while the Max Comiskey We go to Dougie Hamilton of the Niagara IceDogs. Michael Hauser, he would be named OHL Goaltender of the Year. Michael Hauser had a solid run during his junior hockey career with the London Knights. It was nice to see him being recognized with OHL Goaltender of the Year. The Dave Pickney Trophy, though, would go to Mark Vizentine and Christopher Festerini of the Niagara IceDogs. The M's Family Award would go to Aaron Ekblad of the Barrie Colts, so the Rookie of the Year. Meanwhile, the W.F. Dinty Moore Trophy, Daniel Altschuler of the Oshawa Generals, Andrew D'Agostini of the Peterborough Petes would win the Dan Snyder Memorial Trophy. The William Hanley went to Brandon Saad of the Saginaw Spirit, while Andrew Agazzino, he would win the Leo Lalonde Memorial Trophy. The Roger Nielsen Memorial Award went to Kyle Pereira of the Guelph Storm, while Adam Pellick won the Ivan Tennant Memorial Trophy. The Mickey Renaud Captain's Trophy, Andrew Agazzino of the Niagara IceDogs. And the Wayne Gretzky 99 Award for Playoff MVP would go to Austin Watson of the London Knights. So it was an entertaining season throughout the Ontario Hockey League as the Knights getting another OHL championship. It was kind of the trend since the Hunters took over ownership of the London Knights. This organization really turning around from what was a dismal run prior. Remember that record-setting losing season in the 1996 season. But since then, the Knights have been a model organization and yet again win another OHL championship. So if there's a memory that stands out to you from the 2011-2012 season, love to see it down below in the comments section. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we will talk to you again soon.